Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome to my January wrap-up and my February TBR. I haven't done just a straight wrap-up TBR video for a little while. I've been kind of handling these things during my Saturday Hodgepodge videos, but this week I think I have some other things I want to talk about during my Saturday Hodgepodge, so I just thought I would do the wrap-up today and just put this video out with my wrap-up of what I read in January, some of my impressions, and then also my TBR for next month, and talk about my reading for next month. So I got through 6 books this month, or almost all the way through. One of them I still have to finish tonight and tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure I will. I got through 6 books. The first book I want to mention is I got through The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This is actually part of kind of a booktube group that's attempting or going to read all of Morrison's fictional works this year in chronological order, and we started with Morrison's first novel, The Bluest Eye, which is about a young African-American girl who wishes that she had blue eyes, that's how she identifies beauty. And this is a really powerful, moving meditation on essentially how concepts of beauty affect young people, and in particular how they affect African-American young girls, or how they affected African-American young girls and their concept of who they are and their identity. It is an incredibly disturbing and moving novel, which really shows the vulnerability that young African-American girls face in the United States of America, and it's an incredibly powerful meditation on the ways in which we divide ourselves up, how we distinguish ourselves from others, social class. There's colorism content here. It's just a really great book. I tell you, in reading this, I kept reading and thinking to myself, this was Morrison's first novel, and this first novel by Morrison is better than, most fifth novels by people. I was just impressed with how assured and confident she was. So I also this month read my first kind of straightforward genre fiction of the month, which was of this year, which I made it kind of one of my goals to read more genre fiction, and so I went with the thing I've read almost none of, and that was romance. And I read Devil's Daughter by Lisa Kleypas, which I saw the merit of. I'm not sure I could say that I enjoyed it, but I think Kleypas is a good writer. I think she does a great job with story. I think there's some inventiveness within the framework of this kind of Regency romance drama. I will say that parts of it just seem to me to be so... it's not that I question the way the story's put together within the time frames exist, but I question why these things seem popular, or what the appeal of these things are, considering that they are still fairly set in a male-dominated world. That said, Kleypas makes her heroine independent and strong, but in the end, she is successful and only really happy in the arms of an incredibly attractive, large, strong, well-endowed, devastatingly handsome bad boy. And I just found that a lot of those stereotypes kind of were, I guess, too much of what I expected for me to really be kind of knocked over by it. And I also felt like the descriptions of the sex scenes were at the same time too indirect and too direct. I don't know. I guess I just like my sex scenes explicit, or maybe not at all. And it's kind of, to me, a cringy blend of the two. But, that's just me. Maybe it's just not my thing. I'm going to try reading romance that's not Regency romance next. I read another first novel, and this was also my first novel by Jeanette Winterson. Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. I read this month, and I liked it. I will say this is one of those occasions where I think my expectations were higher than what I found in the book. I really expected to be kind of blown away, and while I liked it, I thought its portrayal of a young woman struggling with her sexual identity and an incredibly repressive situation with a mother who fairly nightmarish. I thought that was really effective, and I could identify with parts of it, the really religious atmosphere in which she grows up. It reminded me of the atmosphere of the community in which I grew up. But there were just sections of it that just didn't work for me. I'm going to read another Jeanette Winterson, move on from her first novel, assume that she becomes more assured and more confident and better as we go on. I'm not saying this was bad. I'm just saying it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. This month I also read, and maybe it's not fair. Maybe coming off of Morrison's first novel, reading Winterson's first novel kind of set it up unfairly for failure. Tried and true author for me at this point is W.G. Sebald. I read The Immigrants this month, and just like Rings of Saturn and Austerlitz, this is just a really great read for me. He just really, to use a cliche, ticks all my boxes as an author. His stories are exactly the kind of things I like. I love this idea of a theme that is incredibly subtly revealed and kind of a deeper subtextual thing that you're never quite sure you've gotten, but you think you've gotten. I love the blend of fiction with the idea of nonfiction and not knowing exactly where those lines are. I just loved it. And so I'm going to read the fourth Sebald novel probably sometime this year, whose name just went out of my head. This, by the way, young people, will happen to you when you hit your 50s or so. You'll think you remember something, and then you'll just forget it all of a sudden. Anyway, so there's that. And then I did a buddy read with Mark from Words Everywhere about Anna Burns' Booker Prize winning novel from 2018, Milkman, and I have finished it, but I'm not going to share very many thoughts with you about it. I'll probably do a review at some point in February, but Mark and I haven't finished our discussion, so I'm not going to put those things in this video. But I just thought it was great. It just really sucked me in. I love the writing style of the novel. I love the setting of the novel, which I think it comes out as kind of the height of the Troubles in Northern Ireland in the 1970s. And I kind of love that there's the question about the reliability of the narrator, questions about who's actually doing what. I like that you're kind of submerged in this incredibly paranoid world. I love the humor of the novel because there's a lot of humor in this novel. And I just really liked it, and this was probably the book I read the fastest because I just got caught up in it right away. But I'll share more thoughts about that later. And then tonight or tomorrow night I will finish The Book Traveler, a Thomas Howard adventure. This is by BookTube's own Alan Morton. It's a novel that he published, which I think I have about 60 or 70 pages left in, and I'm enjoying it. It's really inventive and fun, and I'll share more thoughts about this with you later. So that's my wrap up for January. A good reading month. Maybe not quite the same reading month I had in December, which was a great reading month, but a good reading month. So then for this month, for February, or for next month I should say, for February, I'm going to do my TBR. I'm going to celebrate Black History Month by reading African American authors in February. That's where I'm going to put my focus. For some reason, when I did a search today, I couldn't find the reading prompts or the bingo card for the Read Soul Lit tag. If I can find it, and I'm sure it's out there and I just haven't looked hard enough. If I can find it, I'll see where these books slot in with the Read Soul Lit tag. But I do want to read almost exclusively African American authors this month, which works out well with the reading project I'm involved in, the group read of Morrison's books. We're going to read Sula this month, which is her second novel, and it's pretty short. Looking forward to that. Love Toni Morrison. If you didn't know that already, I do. I'm going to also then kind of combine African American History Month with my project to read more genre fiction. I'm going to read Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, which is a science fiction novel of sorts. I've never read Butler, but I hear she's amazing and a transformative writer, so I'm glad I got a copy of this book. I'm going to read that this month. And then near the end of the month, Sean the Book Maniac and I are going to do another buddy read, this time of one of my new favorite authors, James Baldwin, and we're going to read Another Country. I've only read two novels by Baldwin at this point, but I'm really looking forward to this because I just love James Baldwin. On top of that, I'm doing a short story project this year where every month I read a short story. This year I'm going to just do American writers and kind of classic short stories. So since this is African American History Month, this month my authors are Zora, Neal, Hurston, and Langson, Hughes. And I'm going to read Sweat by Zora, Neal, Hurston, and I'm going to do a video about that on February the 14th. And I'm going to read Redheaded Baby by Langson, Hughes, and put my video out about that on the 28th. So if you're interested in that part of my short story project, I will try to leave links to PDFs of those two stories below, which I think you can probably find online, hopefully legally. I'll put links to those in the show notes below. Then I'm also doing BookTube Prize judging, and so I can't really talk to you about that, but those books will occupy a good deal of my reading this month, and some of those books fit my goal of reading African American authors. So I'll be able to share, what I read and how I felt about it after this first round of the BookTube prize judging is over. Anyway, there you go. That's my January wrap-up and my February TBR. If you've read any of these books, have any thoughts about these books, you want to argue with me about Lisa Kleypas or Jeanette Winterson, or tell me that you didn't like The Milkman, or not The Milkman, that you didn't like Milkman by Anna Burns, please feel free to leave comments in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching.